Hello, everyone. As Wissam said, I'm Marina. So first of all, I just want to tell a little bit about myself before I share the slides. I was single for a long time. And, you start wondering if there is something wrong with me or with the world. And, it kind of keeps bothering you because you don't know. And after I learned different approaches to building relationships and dating, and, I figured it out now that I am in a really good relationship for several years. Looking back, I can answer that question. There was nothing wrong with me. Nothing really wrong with the world because people do what they do for whatever reasons, sometimes good things, sometimes bad things. But it was all about me not doing certain things that were necessary to build a good relationship. And today I will share some of these things and what we should be doing, but we're not taught. And I also want to kind of highlight that sometimes people say, oh, ignorance is a bliss. Unfortunately, it's not the case with romance and love, because yes, we may get lucky and it will be easy and we'll find the love of our life. But often people actually experience some heartbreaks, and it's a really long journey before they meet someone that they're really happy with. So again, there are certain things that I want to share with you. Maybe some of it you already know, and it's great. Some of it may be new, but I welcome feedback from you at the end of the presentation. And with that, let me start. So these three areas that usually people make mistakes while pursuing romance, finding love, overcoming fear and limiting beliefs, adjusting energy, and the third one, boundaries and communication skills. And I know some of you may say, I don't have limiting beliefs. And it's a really good starting point because actually we all do. And it comes from our upbringing, from absorbing this culture and certain stereotypes. But limiting beliefs have another name. They also called excuses. So if you have excuses for why you're not dating anyone, why it doesn't work out, why you don't get close to people, probably this is one of them. And I actually really like this exercise, and I recommend it to you to do it at your leisure time. Not now, but I will show how to do it. Basically, you take a piece of paper and you write your excuse or limiting belief on the left, and then you rewrite it in a positive way so it becomes your mantra. And I'll give you examples. So for example, I'm not good enough. There is no one who will love me as I am. We rewrite it as I am a unique individual and I deserve to be loved and appreciated. Or I'm too old for love. We can rewrite as humans of any age are capable of love, and I am too. It's too much work to be in a relationship. We can rewrite, I can create a relationship that is really enjoyable. And last but not least, not enough good people for everyone to couple up. And we rewrite it into, the world is big enough and there is someone good for me. So what you do first, you daily read the belief on the left and then mantra on the right. And it depends, you may have one, you may have several, but then after 7 days, you erase beliefs on the left and you only continue with mantras. So after you actually read the mantras for 21 days or you memorize them, you actually start believing them. And the importance of this exercise is that we let our beliefs run our behavior. They may sabotage our relationships. So we really need to spin it in a positive way so that we start thinking differently and attracting different results. So something similar we can do with fear. So I'll tell you the difference between beliefs and fear. Beliefs are self-defense mechanisms. that help us go with our lives in difficult situations or unclear situations. And fear is actually deep and underlying below every belief, especially limiting belief. Basically, fear tries to protect us from getting in this situation that we may get hurt. And what we can do, we can address each fear and assure it that we will not do the same mistake. We will find a way to do it differently, and we will protect ourselves. And again, I'll give you some examples. I'm afraid of falling in love because I may get hurt. And we can answer, but it doesn't happen in every relationship. And a hint, or I would say maybe a lesson, is that to know that life is not without hurts, but love cures it all. The next one, I think that when I'm in a relationship, I have to give up a lot and lose my freedom. And the answer would be, there are many relationships where people still have a lot of time to pursue their passions. And the lesson going forward, that I need to look for people who want me to pursue my own passions, right? And they will pursue passions of their own. And the last one, I feel like it's better to be alone because I always pick wrong partners. And the answer would be, but then there were partners that I didn't pick for whatever reason, who might have been right for me. And the lesson or hint going forward, be more open-minded to take my time to decide which person is more compatible with me, not make a decision instantly. So every time fear comes to mind, it's important to address it like a little child, to assure that we will do things differently, and we will actually go forward with carrying the hint or the lesson on the right. So the second one, adjusting energy. This is also something that we are not taught in our modern society. And the idea is really basic. It's that to be a fully functioning, thriving, and wholesome individual, we need both energies. We need feminine and masculine energy together. Usually, however, we have one energy more than the other, and we're kind of lacking the missing one. And then we try to replenish it through another person. So we try to be in a relationship with someone who will give us this missing energy. And actually, it creates this balance. We sometimes feel very desperate wanting that person just because we're missing the energy. However, we can actually get that energy on our own. And traditionally, masculine energy is associated with acting in the world. So you get it through protecting, providing, and motivating. And then feminine energy is associated with being with ourselves and comforting, soothing, and validating. So the idea is that we need to be as wholesome and complete on our own before we actually enter the world of dating and looking for people, because we want to be as complete and whole as we can. And of course, sometimes it may not be easy, but there are tools how to do it. And if you look at this table, there are certain aspects in the first and the third columns, and certain actions that we can do. Say if we feel really maybe ready to fight and a little bit maybe even aggressive, to do something to soothe ourselves, to comfort and validate. And it could be done through just saying good words, listening to nice music, or taking a bath. If we actually, for example, feel too mellow and just maybe too unsure and insecure, it's good to do something for ourselves that can actually motivate us, right? And maybe protect us. What can we do to stop others from hurting us, right? And from ourselves, because if we keep hurting ourselves and maybe drinking too much alcohol or kind of involving in self-destructive behavior, what can we do to protect ourselves? We don't have to really look for another person to necessarily save us, right, or rescue us. So those tools are all available. And what is really important here is that each energy has its own emotional needs. And it is important to understand what are your emotional needs, right? And the emotional needs of your partner. And here you can see 12 main emotional needs. However, you can have all of them, not necessarily the masculine in one column or feminine on the other, depending on the situation, your stage in life. So it has nothing to do with your gender. However, traditionally, you can look what was assigned to each gender. And here I want to actually give you an example. When someone says that they were seeing a person, they were dating that person, and they didn't feel good about it because the person was actually criticizing them and playing to their weaknesses and darkness, and that person was bringing me down, right? And gosh, I was suffering, and I'm so glad I'm out of there. And then they talk about another person, and they say, wow, this was just magic. You know, I was having wings, I was flying, I was so inspired and motivated. And this person really brought out the best out of me. So what do you think are the differences between those two people, right? Scenario one and scenario two. The difference is that the first person was not meeting that person's emotional needs, right? And the second one was. And it's actually done through this chart, through this table. If you really know how to meet your partner's emotional needs, your partner may say, oh my God, you get me. We're on the same wavelengths. We really get in each other, and you really know who I am. And I'm so happy to be with you just the way I am. I'm not pretending anything. And basically, this is the secret to the long-term relationship, right? Successful relationship. If you really know how to meet your partner's emotional needs. However, not everyone really knows what it means. And I highly recommend this book. It will kind of go into details of how to really meet the need. And I'll give you again several examples. If you look at the trust need, what it really means is not that we doubt our partner's ability to be faithful, right? That they will betray us. It's not that. It's more that we believe that they have their own way of doing things. And we trust them. We trust that they will do what they want in their own fashion, right, in their own manner, without us criticizing them or telling them what to do or stopping them or suggesting other alternative and solution. And then acceptance is basically accepting the person with all their flaws. So not, again, mocking their weaknesses and mentioning their mistakes, but basically accepting the person the way they are. And it's really big strength if someone actually knows how to do it. And appreciating, basically saying thank you for little things the person does, noticing every single effort, right? And maybe doing something nice to them in return, praising the person. So you can learn more about all these emotional needs in the book, which I highly recommend. Okay, and then the last section is about boundaries and communication skills. And this is, again, it's a big trap where many people fall into. And we all know people who are in a relationship and they do what they don't want to do, okay? They kind of compromise their values for the sake of the other person, of the relationship. And ultimately, they lose self-esteem. And unfortunately, the respect of the partner too. Because what usually happens when we compromise on those values, we feel neglected, not valued, not appreciated. But it's very important to have our own safe space in the relationship, and basically know that certain things you're willing happily to do for your partner, but others is more like a no-go zone. This is your safe space. And why people actually do things, that they don't want to do, it's basically they just want to please the partner. They really want to impress the other person. And ultimately, it's the fear of rejection and being really afraid of losing the partner in the relationship altogether. So again, this is something that it's really important to learn how to do with small things. And what really helps, basically communication skills. And as you can see here in this blue box, you can take a survey, understanding what is your communication style. Because if you have a passive communication style, most likely you will not be speaking up about your true needs. And you will feel like people don't appreciate you. And ultimately, it leads to resentment, right, and frustration. And then one day, that person may blow up and say enough is enough, and I'm done with this, instead of speaking up early about their true needs. So communication skills are important because we don't want to guess what the other person wants, right? Assume something, maybe do what they don't really want, or constantly hide our true desires and true wishes. So it's important to put it on the table. And the basic roadmap here is to know your true needs, communicate them to the partner, find out what the deal breaker is, right? Versus what you can compromise on, create and maintain your own boundaries, because there is a thing of giving too much too early. Yes, it's not good. And then respecting boundaries and needs of the other. So now we come to last part, and it is about our expectations. And we all have a list of qualities that we want in a partner, ideally, right? And I actually give this analogy of an apartment. When you look for an apartment to live in, you usually have certain parameters, certain requirements, what you're looking for. And after seeing several ones and not being satisfied, finally you see this one that doesn't have everything you wanted, but you just love it, right? It may be a little bit smaller or a little bit, far away from the center, a couple other things you didn't even expect. And then suddenly you just like, yes, I take it. So same with another person, that important to keep in mind that yes, there are some important things for us, but everything else should be flexible and up to negotiation. And another thing is actually strategy. Not all of us even realize that we all have a strategy of how do we know that we, for example, like someone, right? Or someone likes us back, or that we're getting serious. So behind every single step in behavior, it's actually a strategy. And it may be subconscious in you. So it's important to write it down. How do you know, right, that you are starting dating someone and it's serious, and what do you expect from them, and what do you expect to do in return? And again, I want to give you another example. Look at this picture that I have. Say back then, right, in primitive societies, a woman knew that she needs to look good, and she will attract some man. And then if a man brings her dead animal to her cave, right, or basically food, maybe he's in love with her. And then if the man brings her this dead animal or food 3 times in a row, it is time to have babies with him. And that was her strategy, right? She wanted a hunter, provider. So now she's starting to live with this person in a cave. And then she realizes that the person has really a hot temper and she just can't be with him because they constantly fight. There's, he's beating her up and, constant arguments. And she realizes that maybe the strategy was all wrong. All she had to do, look for a person that she can get along with. And maybe he's not the first hunter in the cave or village, but he takes care of her emotionally. She feels good with him, and then whether he's good looking, strong, and provider should be secondary for her. So same with our strategies. Maybe we need to revise some of them if they're not working. And then another thing is values. We all have values in our lives, what we really appreciate. And again, sometimes we get it from our parents, sometimes we craft them on our own in our lives. And think of a person who really values freedom, right, and independence. And this person may want to just travel anytime they want and do things without asking anyone. So it may be hard for this person to find a partner because the pool of partners will be small who would agree with that behavior, right? And maybe other partners would want to go on traveling with him, or they would want to at least the partner to consult with them if if it's okay to go. So here it is important to review our values because maybe love should be value number one, and independence and freedom should be value number two. We need to realign with what we want in life, because otherwise this person will always be choosing freedom over love in future relationships, and it may bring dissatisfaction and not a really successful relationship in the end. So all of this, our required qualities in the partner, strategy, values, are all they helping us or preventing us from meeting that person that we're looking for. And I guess the main question here is, what can't we give up for love? Because if we really know the answer to this, it will be really easy to start kind of from this base, right? We know what's very, very important, and everything else we can figure out. We can maybe negotiate and compromise and just accept as is. So now I have an interesting exercise. It will take only a few minutes, but specifically to help with this, to find out what's really important. So if you want to do it with me, feel free to do so. You can actually close your eyes. It may be easier for you. And I will actually stop sharing for a second and turn music on. And you will just follow my instructions. Few deep breaths. Take a few deep breaths. When you're ready, call the lover of your future into your meditation. Imagine him or her before you, lovingly gazing into your eyes. Feel your heart open in response to their love. And lovingly offer yourself to that person as a home and a sacred resting place. Feel how they receive this offering from you. And as in turn, they offer themselves to you with the same level of love and devotion. Feel how the touch would feel like. Safe. There is a sense of complete trust and surrender that is both natural and joyful. Remember this feeling. When you are ready, really remember this feeling and use it as a compass to recognize this person in your life. You can open your eyes. Okay, I think we're